Hey guys, this is a 2016 Piaggio mp3 500 and we're going to do a first oil change on it. And there's a couple things I want to talk about first, and that's make sure that you get the right kind of motor oil that meets the manufacturer's requirements. And what I mean by that is this is a regular bottle of car motor oil, and this is a bottle of motorcycle oil. Now, it has to meet JSO requirements in order to go in your Piaggio scooter. If you look on the back of this regular car motor oil, it doesn't. Whether or not it would blow up your motor, I'm not sure, but just make sure that whatever oil you get is meets the JSO requirements specified by Piaggio. I like to buy oil filters and stuff from my local auto parts store. I don't like to order something and wait for a week or two for it to come in. So this is what I got at my auto parts store that's just 2 miles down the road. It's a Mobile One's fully synthetic motorcycle oil, 1040. Meets all the specified requirements as in the Piaggio manual. And for the oil filter, I don't think anybody makes a better filter than K&N, and the K&N filter for this is KN 184. There's two things I like about this filter. One, it comes totally sealed, and two, it comes with it's a spot welded on nut right here, so it makes it easier to take on and off. And I'll show you how you take the factory one off compared to this one. This one's much easier. And the other thing is the nut you're going to remove to drain the oil, I cannot find any specs on the torque specs. So I have a digital, it's kind of a torque adapter, pretty much fits on any type of wrench. And to break it loose, it broke loose at about 12 foot-pounds. So I assume that the factory spec is 12 foot-pounds, and that's what I'm going to put it back to. So first thing you need to do, what I did, you're going to get yourself some type of bucket to catch the oil in. We just happen to have a empty bleach container laying around, so I cut that in half, and that's what I'm going to use. But when you do loosen that nut, there's going to be a little tiny washer on the back side. You want to make sure that doesn't fall into your oil bucket. And there's going to be a little oil filter screen that we're going to pull out. So you're going to need a 15/16 socket to loosen that up. And like I said, it's not very tight, so it should come loose pretty easy. Remember, there's a little tiny washer on the back side of this. It's either going to stick on the nut, which it didn't. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right there. You just want to make sure that that tiny little washer does not fall in your oil bucket and you forget to put it back in. The other thing is there's this little plastic oil filter screen. You're going to want to pull that out. You can use needle nose pliers or use your fingers. That will come right out. Now that's kind of a coarse kind of filter, and all you really need to do with that is take an air compressor, stick it inside here, and blow the screen out, which is what we'll do here next. Just like that. That's going to blow all the little metal shards out of that filter screen. You can see it's still draining kind of slow. If you want, you can tip your bike or your scooter, whatever you call it, over this way a little bit, and that should help the oil drain a little bit faster. The other thing is you're going to want to pull the dipstick out or the cap on the other side, which you have to pull anyway to refill it, and that should help the oil flow out a little bit better. And now on the other side is where your oil filter is. And what you're going to need to remove that, an oil filter wrench like this works just fine because the filter sticks down far enough that you could clamp onto it. But once you put the new K&N on, you won't have to use these anymore. You'll just use a standard socket, which I'll show you how that goes. If you do get this filter here, you're just going to need a 17mm socket. Goes right on the end of there. Much easier to change your oil filter next time. It's just one less tool. You're already going to have your sockets out, so it's just one less tool you got to get. So I'm going to put this screen back in. It pushes straight in. I'm not going to take that rubber washer off by any means. It's on there and it likes where it's at. And like I said before, that nut broke loose at about 12 foot-pounds. So that's what I'm going to tighten it back up to. And just push your oil container to the other side. And then we're going to go around over there and change that oil filter. Now that oil filter is right above your kickstand. Let's see if I can get it down in there so you guys can see it here a little bit. It's right there. So you take your oil filter wrench, and like I said, this sticks down just a little bit so that you can get this on here. And it's definitely not as easy as the K&N filters are with the socket style. No. Since there's not much space under here, you're going to kind of have to go back and forth getting this factory one off. It seems pretty loose. See if it'll, yep. That will spin off. And the bad part about pulling this oil filter off, as you can see, I can't get my bucket under there because of the kickstand. It's kind of a poor design, I guess, but that's kind of why I got the cardboard down there. And I'm not too worried about spilling a little oil in my garage. I'm going to get this as close as I can. And when you take the oil filter down, tip it towards your bucket there just a little bit. And then make sure you don't drop it in there because you'll splash oil all over the place. So slide that out of the way and I'll grab the new K&N filter. And then what you're going to want to do is pour a little bit of your oil into the oil filter. It's not really a specified amount, but I like to just get a little bit in there. Maybe, you kind of see here, Just about that much. And then with the little bit that's spilled here, get that on your finger and get that rubber gasket a little wet with the oil. That will help seal it up. And then also where your oil filter mounts down here, just take a rag and give it a little wipe down before you put your new filter on. And then to screw on your new filter, and like I said, all you need now is your 17mm socket. And tighten that up nice and tight. Once you start to feel it kind of get a little bit snug, I go about 1/4 turn. And then all that's left to do, you have a very small oil spout right here. So you're going to need a very small oil filter. And for the Piaggio mp3 500, it's 1.7 liters of oil. So that's all left to do is put in the oil. And then if your wrench light is on your dash, there'll be a little wrench up here. That's a signal that you need to do maintenance, whether it's your gear oil or engine oil. And if you do it yourself, the only way to reset it is make sure your ignition is off and hold in this button while you turn your ignition on. And the little wrench is going to start flashing right here. Now, hold that button in for about 6 or 7 seconds and the wrench will stop flashing and your service will reset. And that's all there is to changing the oil in the mp3 500. Thanks for watching.